Welcome to another program of Uncommon Sense. You're listening to the voice of Dr. Mel Gill, and this program has started around the time when we were dealing with the COVID crisis in the world. And now we are continuing. I decided I would do this program, Uncommon Sense, because common sense is not so common as we would imagine it to be. And I wanted to cover a lot of things that we are generally struggling with and would like answers to. And some of the answers that come from the perspective of a psychotherapist, which is what I am. Been doing this for over 40 years. And it's only in the last 25, 30 years that I've been a quote unquote motivational speaker. I've lived in Chicago, Seattle, New York, and my son Luke was born in Vermont, which is really about one state away from Canada. Spent a lot of time in Canada and Singapore, and now in the last 7-8 years in Bulgaria as well. I wanted to create this program so that I could help a lot of people solve some of the emotional trouble that they're going through, and the situation that is that they've surrounded themselves with. And what you will find is a lot of people have created their own circumstances. I'm a little bit distracted today because I've been working until 3 o'clock. Say that carefully. 3 o'clock last night, and most of today, trying to finish the work that was given to me by a friend of mine, Bernard, and I will get it done. It will be finished, and and then I can start working on the 25 other books and projects that I need to finish as well, so that we can go ahead and begin having this program a little bit more structured. By then, what will happen is I will also be receiving some of the other equipment I need, like a splitter, a LAN splitter, which is a local LAN splitter. What is it called? Something network. Local area network. There you go. So yeah. Not enough coffee today, and I just finished mine 2-3 hours earlier, so I kind of need that. So let's welcome people to the room. If you're listening on YouTube, I should be broadcasting to it directly. If you're listening from Facebook, I'm broadcasting this simultaneously. And let's Chan, welcome. Jonah, welcome, and. Let me get this. I'll try to read the Bulgarian. I've been very bad about this. Hold on for a second. So this is Yes, Varna, Bulgaria. That's correct. Um, uh, Help me pronounce that. It's been a while since I've been there. So anyway, nah. And Malinka, welcome. Arvinder, my cousin from um, Canada, Vancouver, welcome. And watching from the Philippines, watching from Vancouver, and Malinka from the United States. Evelina, thank you so much, Evelina. Um, 3 months away, and already I've forgotten how to read Bulgarian. I really need to take a full-on formal course, and I will one of these days if I'm going to make Varna my home. That's something I have to pay attention to as well. Don't you think? Yeah. Yesterday we began because a question was asked of me from someone from the Philippines to talk about Stoicism. And Stoicism is actually the basis for a lot of people studying happiness or even Buddhistic thought. But it was put together by Marcus Aurelius, who he actually formalized it and put it in writing. But it was Zeno of Cyprus that actually, after losing his house, his home, his wealth, his family, everything, started to make sense of life by doing that. And for those of you who did not pay attention to yesterday's broadcast, you can go back there and see it. But let me give you the fundamental principles of Stoicism. The first one being that people are not disturbed by events that happen around them, but rather by the judgment about the events, what they're thinking about the events. If you got fired, well, sounds bad. I mean, you might end up with a better job, but who knows that for sure. So getting fired was good in a sense because it gave you a new opportunity and opened up whole new avenues for you, so you don't even know that. All this is also covered in my other book, Uncommon Sense. You have a pain in your arm, say for instance, well, maybe you were just in a car accident and the doctor said you might never regain feeling in your limbs. So pain is good. Events are neither good nor bad. Your interpretation of them is good or bad. It depends on what happens to you. As that happens, it opens up the possibility of you paying attention to what before you used to take for granted, so on and so forth. So when you blame events for your feelings, a lot of people tell you that is, and most psychologists will tell you that is also not quite right. It's just plain wrong. And so the rain that comes down, say for instance, it's been raining for the last few days, it didn't make you sad or destroy your day. Your beliefs about the rain made you sad and how it impacted you. And the second thing to pay attention to is Stoicism is this: it's critical to know what you can control and what you cannot control. When we started this COVID program about a month ago, maybe more, we started to talk about drawing a circle, and everything within the inner circle are things you can control. I wanted you to make a list, and the things that are outside of that circle are things you cannot control. And I asked you to do one simple exercise, and the exercise was this: spend 90% of your focus during the day on what is within the circle. Those are things you can affect by the things you do, by the people you meet, by the books you read, by your interaction, by your words, by your thoughts. So you can actually start to change all of those. So when you try to understand that, you also begin to have an absolute realization as you're alone, and this entire crisis has given us ample opportunity to be isolated and alone. You realize that you cannot control other people, and that you can't control nature, and you can't always control your own body, although you need to now pay attention to that as well. So trying to wish away a headache or a migraine, well, it doesn't work that well for you. So when you get frustrated with something that you cannot control, which is almost everything when you think about it, you're pretending you're God in a way. You feel like you should have power over something that you don't, and that's why you get angry, and that's why you get frustrated or sad. And yeah, well, maybe people shouldn't do something bad to you, but they do. And maybe people shouldn't be bad, but they are. And so all the shouldn'ts and all the wouldn'ts and must and all of these will start to disappear after a while. Maybe it shouldn't be raining, but hey, man up to it. It is raining. So you have to accept that you do not have control over a lot of stuff. But that doesn't mean that you have to give up. It just means that you can influence the things you can influence, and therefore be involved with that activity on a daily basis, which will make you happier in the long run. But when you delude yourself to think that you should have 100% control over everything in your life or over an outcome, well, then you're almost always going to find yourself emotionally upset about things that don't go your way, and you will experience this massive stress, which eventually starts to break you down from the inside out. Onchad, welcome, and my mother, welcome. Hi, Mamji, welcome to the show. My mother has a system now. She watches her movies and everything on Netflix. I got her an account so that she can enjoy the movies. And she has a timing, about 9:30-ish, 9:45-ish. She puts that on pause, and then she watches this program until she gets bored, then she goes back to it again. So it's a little bit of a system there. So these two ideas that I just talked about with Stoicism are really central to this idea of resilience and mental toughness. And if we put them to work, well, there's a lot of things we can do when we put them to work, because there are many people think it's almost over, but it's not. There are many challenges that are on the horizon, and they're coming up. And so what is the first step to becoming mentally strong and emotionally strong to deal with them? And the worst way the best person to teach you this would be a Roman emperor called Marcus Aurelius, who wrote a book called Meditations. At that time, Meditations, and it wasn't a book he wanted published for others. It was a book that he put together to remind himself of some of these principles that we now know as Stoicism. And it kept him in good stead. At least kept him happier as an emperor of the great Roman Empire, which was vast at that time, just to let you know. So the way in which you can do that is to ask yourself the singular question, which is also what he did. What is the worst that could happen? And when you answer that, then you begin to have a clear idea. If the outcome doesn't match what it is that you want, expect, or need, and et cetera, you already have time to find a solution to be able to make that happen. So I think it was him who said, begin every day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference. Today I shall be meeting with ingratitude. Today I'll be meeting with insolence. Today I'll be meeting with disloyalty. Today I'll be meeting with ill will and selfishness. Today I'll be meeting a lot of very stupid people. So and when you are ready for that, then the day has no surprises for you. And when they don't show up, wow, what a pleasant surprise. What a gorgeous day it's turning out to be. So why in the world would you want to start the day with that thought that you're meeting all these negative people? Well, because Marcus Aurelius at that time didn't want to be surprised. As an emperor, he wanted to be prepared. So if you know you're going to meet a stupid person, if you know you're going to meet a person who won't pay whatever bills they owe you, and so on and so forth, as a natural consequence of some business transaction or something that went on, don't be upset, because you know it's going to happen. And expecting it to happen gives you an idea of solutions, or to finally say, screw it, doesn't matter. This is who they are. And they got away with it. So that's fine. And let it go. And then go forward, because the world is full of other opportunities for you. But you see, there are also a lot of people in the world that can be very difficult. And we all know that you can't control what these people do. So if I just said that and nothing else to you, you'd roll your eyes at me and say, well, I wonder why you decided to say all this, Mel. And yet when people are difficult, you sometimes respond like it was unexpected. Oh my God. And then you get angry. Does that make any sense? You see, for me, I meet a lot of people who do stupid things and say rotten things and terrible things. But I expect that. And because I expect that, I go, there you are. Okay, how interesting. Beyond that negative experience, there are a lot of things, and since I'm prepared for it, there are a lot of things I can now focus on, which is a lot better. So I'm prepared. So nothing actually, it's part of the training that I was trying to tell you before that led you to understand when Siddhartha Gautama talked about a balance between extreme emotions. When you have that balance, something amazing happens. You become a person with a cool cerebellum. You see, there's a cerebellum is the part of your brain in the back of your brain, the part that controls your motor movements and some of your emotional states as well. When it's heated up, you become jarring in your motion. You don't know what to do. You have this a lot of insane emotional pressures that are building up. But when your cerebellum is cool, according to MRI readings, then you are balanced. Equanimity, Buddha called it. And then you start to build this at some point. So when you're prepared for something, you smile because it's there and you say, there you are. Example. Let me break it down to its simplicity. I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I say thank you. Thank you for myself for waking up and responding to the day and the daylight. Thank you to my body for responding to the day and feeling alive and that there's hardly any pain or anything that's going on in there. And thank you for the constant growth of tissue turning into pink, healthy tissues all the time. Thank you for my mind that allows me to think clearly, my eyes that allow me to see clearly, my voice that allows me to speak clearly, and that sense of smell that can smell the first eggs that I cook myself in the morning. What else is there? Taste and all of that, and the sounds of the birds in my garden all the time. It's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And then the final thank you is to the day and the day that's coming up. And I think to myself, well, today I'm going to meet at least one bastard, one asshole, and at least some very, very stupid people. But because of COVID, I don't get to meet them too much. So I tell myself that. So it's not that I'm wishing it. I'm not using the power to, shut up, Mel. If you say it, it's going to happen. No, it doesn't work like that. But the reason why is so that I won't be surprised if they do show up. So when the asshole shows up, I'll go, sounds like an asshole, looks like an asshole, feels like an asshole, thinks like an asshole. There you are. Cool. Nice to see you. How cool. You're part of my day. It's what Friedrich Nietzsche calls embracing fate, basically. Amor fati. Embracing fate. So whatever the fate is, good or bad, when you embrace it, life becomes a little bit better as well. Jackie Gonzalez, welcome. We had one or two people get a hold of me in my private messages asking me for some questions. I suppose they'll come on and they'll tell me what it is that they need, and I'll be able to help them as well. So that'll be very, very cool. So we're talking about Stoicism. Now, reminding yourself of the worst that can happen isn't permission. Isn't permission to attract all negatives in your life. It's not pessimism by any means. It's buying insurance. Doesn't mean that you want to die. It just means that you realistically recognize that it can happen and that you want to be prepared just in case it does happen. So Marcus Aurelius reminds ourselves, us and himself, at that point it was only for himself, that every morning that people are going to be difficult. It's going to be very tough because he's in a position of being the chief executive at that time of the Roman Empire. So that way, that kind of thinking doesn't surprise him, and he wouldn't get frustrated and tell them all to go to hell. He would just move right along and recognize it there. And since he's already thought about it, he's already got some preset solutions in place, and he knows which direction in which to approach them from. Because when you try to involve the Senate or the Congress in something, or a group of people, not always will you end up with what it is that you started off with. That's what a camel is, just to let you know. A camel is a horse that is built by committee. People say, well, wait a minute, the camel looks completely different from a horse. Yes, when you have a committee of people together who don't agree together, well, you end up with something that looks more like a camel than a horse. So when you are unrealistically optimistic, when your expectations are totally out of whack, really, you get frustrated and you give up. And by thinking about what could go wrong in any situation, you just simply are prepared for it. But you keep on trucking, and you keep on with a positive attitude, knowing that this will happen along the way. Example, a metaphorical example, Bulgaria is famous for its roses and rose oil. Anything rose related comes from Bulgaria. Mostly from Bulgaria, because they're in the middle of the Valley of the Kings, it's called, the Thracian kings, are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres of roses. And if you go around picking all these roses or plucking all these roses, especially if you're a rose plucker, that's what they're called, rose harvester, you expect thorns. It's not all going to be roses, it's all going to be thorns as well. So when you're prepared for it, you don't complain about it. It's part and parcel of the work that's involved in harvesting these things. So in the art of happiness, and especially if you want to think about becoming happy, you should contemplate events ahead of time. In other words, be prepared so that nothing ever takes you by surprise. And, sometimes I think it was Seneca who said, what is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness tends to add to the weight of any kind of disaster. Say, for instance, the COVID disaster, when Trump dismantled the entire task force that was commissioned by Obama to prepare for just exactly what is happening in the United States. So they were all caught with their pants down. It's because now the disaster is magnified. Over 60,000 people are dead, more than in the Vietnam War. That's crazy. Now, people think we're coming out of it, and he's asking everybody to go back to work. Within 2 weeks after that, you're going to have more than 100,000 or 300,000 people dead. All because there's no testing, there's not enough people, and it becomes a little bit difficult to find an excuse at that time. So Seneca tells us that maybe we should therefore project our thoughts ahead of us at some point. Be prepared for the road ahead. Imagine every conceivable setback so that it does not become a setback when we face it. We've already got solutions in hand. We can strengthen the mind, or we can, cope with them in some way emotionally before they actually become reality. This is called building psychological resilience, raising your adversity quotient, if you will. If you spend some time, not a lot of time, but some time thinking about the downside of things and experiencing those bad feelings ahead of time, something else happens to you. Cognitive behavioral therapy calls it decatastrophizing. Whoa. And it's where we have the reverse of taking something that we catastrophize. It's not the end of the world. We already know it's about to happen, so therefore we're prepared for it. And it's if you want to know what that phrase means, it simply means realizing that the world truly is not ending because this thing happened or that thing happened or because that boyfriend or girlfriend left or because that job is no more. It's not the end of the world. It may be the beginning of a new world for you. And besides, you're prepared for that anyway. So maybe it's your first day on the job and something went wrong and you freaked out thinking you're going to lose that job. A few weeks later, well, the same thing happens and you don't even blink because you got used to it. Eventually, you know that people will make mistakes, especially that one that you made. And that's what experience is. It translates itself into wisdom. That's why we say, go ask Mike, go ask Joanne over there. She's got experience. She knows what to do and how to handle it. That's why the American Indians in the Southwest, the Hopi Indians, wake up every day praying to the Great Spirit, please allow us to make at least 20 mistakes today, 20 errors today. Allow us to fail at least 20 times, because they believe that it's only from making those mistakes and those errors that you start to gain wisdom and experience. And experience is the most important thing. You don't learn any other way, mostly. So taking time to think about what could be the worst that could happen, say in a relationship, for instance, to feel the negatives before you really feel the negatives, turns down the volume on all those emotions. When it matters, when it happens, when it counts, which allows you then to weather the storm. Been there, done that. I know how to deal with it. That sort of thing. So for Stoicism, there's a very broad range of situations that are rehearsed in their heads. General emotional resilience can be developed as a result of that through a process explained by, what do they call it? In imagination, you can build up stronger defenses in small doses. It's viral immunization. It's when you immunize someone with a little bit of the virus, and so that their body can fight against it, and eventually it builds up a resistance against it, so that you don't have to deal with it with one blow and in your face sort of thing. It's a stronger defense for you. All of life is like this, especially when faced with real life problems and issues and emotional turns. So psychological resilience tends to generalize. So when situations that neither anticipated or directly rehearsed can be experienced as maybe less overwhelming when you start to pay attention to that, because you're generally used to the fact that your day will be filled with good and bad people. It's not all about good people. And I don't know which idiot told you that the law of attraction and the use of the law of attraction would make your day beautiful and that you'll be nothing but walking through a rose garden that has no thorns. I mean, that's a complete moron, and you don't need to do that. And they're probably making their money by charging you a course on using the law of attraction without any realistic grounding in what is life all around. There are people who, like ostriches, bury their head in the sand and they don't want to see all the negatives around them. Deal with the negatives, but expect the positives, want for the positives, and work towards it. 3 days ago, I gave you a step-by-step, 5-step approach to be able to achieve your goals. Follow that and monitor your progress until you get to your goals, and don't give up. That's all I'm asking you to do. So that kind of a morning ritual where you wake up in the morning, thankful, grateful, but at the same time being aware, is also going to be helping everybody. Jackie, I did welcome you. Charn, welcome from Bangkok. And Wee Wee, welcome also, one of my students from Bangkok. And take a look at Streamlab. You're from Varna, living in the UK. Malinka Kopi, 8 years without Dr. Lozano. Yeah. I was there when he died. I was there. Good man. Evelina is from Varna, living in UK. Cool. Uh, how are things in the UK? I heard a lot of people are uh, catching the virus. Let us know. Allah Osilem, it was you I talked to today. If you have a question, I did say I was going to turn on Skype. Let me see if I can turn it on here. Hang on, Allah. I never thought I'd say that. I just told Allah to hang on. Let me get into my Skype. Oh, come on. I have to do it again? What on earth? No, I don't have time for this shit. Okay, I can't do that. So maybe... Not sure how to run this technically. I'm gonna try and launch Skype here and see if it screws with the whole program. Let me try. So if it does work, okay, my Skype is on. Now, if you want to talk to me through Skype, it's very simple. My Skype address, and I'll type it down here, is Meta Secret. So go to Skype and ask to be accepted, or make a phone call, and I will pick it up and ask me the question, and then we'll have a dialogue, and we'll get to some semblance of an answer or something. So please come to the Skype thing. Am I on in Skype? I am on in Skype. I think I am on in Skype. SP, welcome as well. So far, I don't see any notices or calls, but meet me now. What is that? One notification. Get the latest update. Are you kidding me? I don't want to update this. To continue using Skype, no wonder. Okay. So Skype needed an update. Oh, it did it automatically. Okay, now we're there. So if you have any questions for me, please call me on Skype, Meta Secret, and I will talk to you there. We have... Okay. I will accept you. And let me call you. How cool is this? Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Let me call you.
Hi, sorry.
You may want to turn me off in the background.
Sorry.
No worries.
My computer is...
Yeah. Turn that down.
Hi, Dr. Mel.
How are you?
I am good, thank you.
What do I call you? Do I call you Allah, or do I call you Marie?
Yeah, just Allah. Allah is okay.
Okay.
That's my friends call me. Yeah.
Your friends call you Allah. They're not Muslim then?
Yes.
It's a joke. So
sorry?
Never mind. It's okay. How can I help you, kiddo?
Yeah, so as I always do every day, like whenever I wake up, apart from of course the I always practice the attitude of gratitude. Like I always say thank you, and just what you said a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always do that too, but I'm not really that specific, just like you. I just say thank you for a new chance, and yeah, to continue living my life, and then maybe another chance to do something better or improve it every day.
Hmm.
So and then as part of my daily practice in the morning, I also watch any videos in YouTube about about motivation, because that's a very long story, but yeah, I started watching motivational videos since 2016 only. And then I came across this article um, that says, I'm so lost. I'm so good in typing, but not in talking. I'm sorry. Am I live or not?
You are live. Everyone on the
I
planet
am.
is listening to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No
So
worries.
yeah, I came across this article that says every individual is born with their own unique gifts. So with their gift, and we are just we have just to discover what that gift is, because a lot of people fail to succeed in life. I don't know, depending on the maybe depending on the definition of their success, but a lot of people fail to succeed in life because they were not able to discover their success, and was not able to refine it, because a lot of, like, for example, students have been taking courses not based on what their true gift or what they're good at. They are just forced to take courses because of they were forced by the this economic status, whatever. So and I have been okay, the whole world might know my whole story then. So I have been doing real estate for quite some time already, and I am thinking that I might not doing the right thing, since I still have not reached to that success that I maybe I call it to myself. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, that's it.
If I can um, crystallize your question, and let me know if
Yes.
this is your question. You
Yeah.
want to know if you are on the right path. Is that correct?
Correct. That's very correct.
Okay. But you went through such a lot of interweaving of attending this, paying attention to this, and not feeling this way, not feeling that way. Um, are you married?
I am. I'm sorry. I am used. Yeah. I'm separated now.
I'm
Annulled.
used to be and separated now. Okay. So I'm used to being separated. That didn't make any sense, woman. But anyway,
Sorry.
do you
Sorry.
have
I was.
children?
I was,
Do you
and
have?
I'm separated now.
Okay, good. Do you have children?
Hmm. I have. I have two kids.
How old are they?
One, the eldest is 10 and the youngest is 5, and unfortunately they are not with me because of right now, because of this pandemic. But another thing, the reason why they're not with me is because of my status that everyone is defining. And
Your
yeah.
status? Your status? I'm sorry. Say that again. What is your status?
Yeah, the status, like, you are not, because this is so live, and I try to live my life in a private way. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of people are I mean, my ex-husband's family are, they are well off. So i I don't know if I'm doing a selfish way or selfless way, because I want my children um to be very comfortable with the kind of life they have right now. I
Noble.
am not I mean, I'm not. I can see them whenever I can. Sometimes they are with me, sometimes they're not.
Okay.
But somehow it actually affects my emotional stability whenever I feel like being with them, and thinking that I should be with them because I know how to take care of them, like, with their emotional needs. Maybe I can be there for them, but um, financially, I am not that I'm not that well off as compared to my ex-husbands. So there
Mhm,
are
mhm.
rules here in the Philippines, but I don't know. I just I have just not made a move yet to
Okay.
maybe to fight for what my right.
So
Yeah,
so everything is up in the air.
everything is up in the air. Like I have to do my career very well because I have to reach this point because I have to fight. Hey, I have shared with you my vision board. I'm sorry. Yeah, I took a picture of it and I shared with you because it says you declare it, then there's a possibility that you can get it.
How can I help you? What would you like me to give you?
Yeah, I have been doing sales ever since, and I am not sure if selling is really my thing or my gift. I'm not sure because
And
I,
and you're
as you
saying
know,
that now because there's not enough money associated with it.
right,
And
and
if you were making a
I'm
ton of
doing
money, then this is your gift and this is your calling.
maybe selling because I have been doing that and that's my experience. And whenever I try to get a
Hmm.
job, they always say that, oh, do you have a sales experience? Yeah, my entire life I have been doing sales experience.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
yes,
why
yes,
I get
yes.
to a higher position because of my experience. But
Well,
yeah.
people. There are a lot of people in the world that don't realize that most of the people on the planet who are married are actually salespeople as well. Did you know that?
No.
99% of the people who are married made their first sale to their spouse. They convinced the spouse that they were the best product on the market. And so the spouse bought it, and now there's
Yeah.
buyer's remorse. That's a different story. Uh,
Right.
but there's nothing. Don't, if you look at the profession of selling, without you guys, society is
Mhm.
nothing. If you don't move the product, if you don't move the service, if you don't sell it, and none of us would have the things we require. Water, even something as simple as water, real estate, which you said you were involved in, um, roof over our heads, da 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 da, many things. And so the selling profession is key. In fact, most salespeople make more money than the CEOs of their companies. Did you know that? Because of the commission
I
structures.
so know that. Yes.
Yes. And so what you need is not so much a direction change, because it sounds like this is what you enjoy doing. The art of conversing with people, talking with people will improve with time. Will improve because this is your ability to be able to tell what is happening, what's not happening. And in this current situation that you're in, a divorce, a split, away from your children, uh, uh,
Mhm.
relationship imbalance. You don't know what is right, what is wrong, who is right and who is wrong, all of that sort of thing. Um, this is part of Stoicism. This is part of what we're talking about. Embrace your
Mhm.
fate, and your fate is to go through
Right.
tumultuous changes right now, and you're going through them. And from what I hear in your voice, you have tremendous courage as you do this, and I salute you, woman. I, I will hear it in your voice when I hear the fear, and I don't hear any fear at all. You're just in your headspace, thinking about what to do next, and and trying to decide if this is the correct way or that's the correct way, or the way that would yield the most rewards for you. That's what you're thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so always understand one thing. When you bring into view, say, a recent moment of disappointment, like, say, the marriage, or a disappointment in making a wrong decision, quote unquote, wrong decision about your children or your job, these particular things are not the final decisions you will make. You will make more decisions on top of that. There is no finality to any of the decisions you make right now. They will only shape the future that you want. So
Right.
this will take the entire program, and I'm not going to do this, but what I am going to tell you to do is a small exercise. Starting today,
Okay.
it's Wednesday, and then Friday, when I come back on the air again, I want to see, and I want to hear, and I want to feel the response I get from you from doing this exercise. You got a pen and paper?
Okay. Yes. Always.
Always. Okay, good. That's a little bit inconvenient, isn't it? Always, if you go to a bathroom or somewhere.
No,
Um,
I always do this. Yeah, whenever I listen to something very important, I always have my pen and paper with me because I'm very forgetful and I write.
Ah,
things, and then I read it again. Sorry.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the friends who are listening to you right now, they know that when you don't have a pad and paper ready, they've nothing important to say to you. Okay, good.
Mm.
I'm just kidding. Um, I want you to write down. I mean, look, life, you will have a lot of punches being thrown at you. You'll be bruised. You'll break a few bones. You know, figuratively
Yeah.
speaking. And some other people may try to harm you because they're angry with you or they're hurt by the things you've done and said. And we don't need to
Mm-hmm.
tell other people what those things are. Um,
Yeah.
they're like little arrows that are trying to pierce your golden armor, and you're trying to be golden at this moment. So you are a giant. But like, have you ever read uh, the story of
Your book?
Lilliput? You know the
Sorry. What's that?
Lilliput. Lilliputians are these tiny beings. This giant gets thrown on the shore, and then he's surrounded by these tiny beings. He's a big, huge giant. Um, what's that story called? It's a tip of my tongue. I'm half asleep. Uh, do you
Oh,
Oliver? Is it
I
no?
don't think I've read it.
Gulliver's Travels. It's called.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something we learn in school and we read. You know that Gulliver's Travels. This man goes on a boat, gets thrown in a storm, lands on the shore. When he wakes up, he's tied down to the ground, and these 2-inch people are climbing all over him and using him in life and all of that. So you are this giant, and everybody's throwing these
Mm-hmm.
arrows at you. But you think they hurt you, but they don't. So what I want you to write on that piece of paper is this. I want you to imagine yourself the giant and imagine all the things that are coming to you. So write them down. Even the hurtful things, the terrible things ex-husband may have said, ex-boyfriend may have done, current boyfriend may have done, children, da 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 da, everything. Write it all down. Don't keep it in a vapor state in your mind. Just write it all down. Okay?
Yeah.
At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, with your job, do the same thing. Talk about, write down about the not earning enough, and then do a little bit of research in your industry, in your area, in your country. The person who is in your current position, what's the highest they can earn? What have they earned? And then take a look at that. And at some point in the future, you may want to model their behavior and their thinking, because their thinking process is not to stop every time you meet with failure. You just go forward. You just change something. True?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's whether or not you lose belief in yourself and your ability to overcome them, but you must write all this down. So write down in about 12 different areas of your life. Your love life, your career, your biology, your body, um, weight gain, weight loss, all of that. Your parents,
Mm-hmm.
your relationship with your
Mm-hmm.
siblings, relationship with your friends, relationship with your
Mm-hmm.
environment, your learning, your education. There's a whole slew of areas in your life. Write down all the things that are coming at you, not necessarily bad and good things. Write them all down. By Friday,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to be able to tell me after you write it all down. Not We won't go through the list and we won't make them public. But what we will do
Okay.
is I want to see what your emotional state is once you begin to see, because that will be your plan. The things you write down, that's going to be your blueprint to go forward or to change direction or
Okay.
to change course. And you'd be surprised.
Wow. I'm excited.
So am I. I'm very excited for you because this is the beginning of new things. And you start to wrestle with things that are invisible. It's very difficult. When you start to write them down and they're no longer invisible, well, then now you can see them coming from a mile away and you start to become happier. Cool?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I am so grateful for this moment. Thank you so much.
Hey, my absolute pleasure. This is only the beginning of our conversation. And let's see how the next step works. And then maybe later we'll have another conversation and we'll go forward and see what else we can do to take it to where we need it to go. All right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure. You take care now.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. I'll go back online and watch it.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.
All right, that was Ala Marie, and now I can actually say I gave advice to Allah. This is a joke. Joke. Learn to laugh. Learn to laugh. So anyway, when we talked about a career, like Allah is talking about right now, something that holds everything together for her true, you got to realize that as you make decisions about where you want to go, where you want to be, what you want to do, who you want to be with, and all of that, that you're not an island. You are surrounded by a lot of influences, some related to you, some not related to you. And the more you help other people achieve their goals, and I'm not kidding, in a service environment, the more you begin to realize that by offering them a service and being a problem solver in their life, that you also will inherently earn more than enough money. It's not about helping someone with the thought that they would give you money in return. That's not the point. It doesn't work that way. What would you? I think it was the most successful insurance salesperson in New York. I think I was giving a talk about 15 years ago at the MDRT roundtable talks, and insurance companies used to hire me a lot for their motivational hoo-has around the planet. And the most successful, I was so blown away because he lived maybe about 15 minutes away from where we used to live, my kids and I and ex-wife, where my kids are right now, holed up in the old former house. When I asked him, what is the secret of your success? You're the top seller. In fact, forget about MDRT. You are actually BDRT, $billion roundtable. You're pretty much there. He says, I don't work on the money. No, I don't focus on the money. I don't focus on the amount that I make. I basically wake up every day very thankful, like the Stoics and myself, and that I'm alive and that I have a mind and a brain that I can help as many people as possible. So I go out and meet my friends, quote unquote friends, or new friends. I make new friends along the way. And I ask them, is there any way I can serve them? Any way I can help them achieve their goals? Take away some of the burdens that they have, the problems, the issues. I listen to their struggles and so on and so forth. And when I do that, for some reason, they want to throw money at me and they want to buy the things I'm selling, which happens to be insurance. And so from doing that, the side income was, and the side result was that he became the top seller. And yet that was not the focus, to become the top seller. That wasn't the focus. So when you start to pay attention to the things that are more important, the things of the spirit, the things of the heart, then you begin to realize that that nobody, even though we are all in isolation, nobody wants to exist by themselves. Society is like a glue that holds everything together, and it's the reason why we're alive and the reason we live. And so if we serve others with what little we have, money, time, attention, love, and all of this, then it's going to help us in the long run as a group, as a society. Expect nothing in return, you'd be surprised. Give someone money with nothing in return, you'd be surprised. Give love with no hope of getting love in return, and you'd be surprised, because it's your gift to the world. So the next step will be finding out what your gifts are. And this is not an immediate process. If you attend a seminar that says, we will help you find your purpose in one weekend, no, really, don't waste your money. Who the hell does that? I mean, really, you'll find your purpose for that moment, for that time, but your purpose will shift. It's not something you can see overarchingly over everything except at the end of your life and know that you've been living your purpose. Your general direction is what you need to get clear, and your unconscious mind puts you in your general direction anyway. And so When you start to pay attention to that, then you no longer think about, oh, but I need love in my life. Without love, I'm empty. Keep saying that again. Without love in my life, I'm empty. Really? Say it again. And I ask people to say it again until they feel stupid and say, well, no, I don't want to. I feel stupid. I feel empty. Yeah, exactly. So you have love. If you don't have enough love, look at the person in the mirror, paint your lipstick on that person, face, give them a kiss if nobody else is giving you a kiss, or a hickey on your neck. I don't know how you're going to stretch your neck that way, but it's going to be a very interesting thing. Your happiness doesn't depend on anyone or anything. If you want to be appreciated uh, all the time, to have someone